Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Alright, it's time to begin the review itself, but before we do, let's talk about some of the creative team behind this. The original idea for Amazon's attack came from Greg Rucka, a stupendously talented author of both spy fiction and comics. It was he who revamped the Greek gods into more modern equivalents, and he who had Wonder Woman write her book. The original idea was for it to be one of the miniseries that led up to Infinite Crisis, but the story was actually that the US military was trying to invade Themyscira. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, it was going to be some critique on the Iraq War or something, but trust me, there are much worse and much stupider comparisons to that coming up. Anyway, that plan was scrapped, and, as I mentioned in the prologue, Infinite Crisis resulted in the Amazons getting banished from this dimension for their own protection. When Amazon's attack itself was released, it was written by Will Pfeiffer. Now, Will Pfeiffer does have some good comics under his belt, including a spectacular run on Catwoman and the excellent Captain Atom Armageddon miniseries. So when Amazon's attack was getting hyped, there was some hope that this might actually be halfway decent. And that hope got stabbed right through the face as soon as the preview pages started getting out. What did people see? Well, let's dig into Amazon's attack number 1 and number 2 and find out. Now, since I'm reviewing from the hardcover collection of the book, there's really no point in trying to review the covers, but I've got a one-word review of them right here. Awesome. Yeah, despite all the crap around this series, the artwork itself is great, but this is just a classic example of good artwork not making a good comic. We open in Washington, D.C., more specifically the Lincoln Monument. A father is telling his son all about Lincoln, and the kid asks what happened to him. Lincoln? Well, one night he went to see a play and... And what? You're really going to tell your son about how an actor shot him through the head? Yeah, son, and his brains splattered right all over the front row.
Wow, cool, Dad. Can you tell me about JFK's assassination next?
Of course, son. However, they're interrupted by a bright flash of light in the courtyard, and all of a sudden there are legions and legions of Amazons in full armor all spread out along the Capitol. They've even got wooden catapults and one-eyed ogres along with them. No, the Lord of the Rings Reenactment Society meets in front of the Senate, not the Lincoln Memorial. So the father tells his son not to worry and that everything's going to be okay. And then he gets his head chopped off. Oh, and to make it better, the unnamed woman then kills the kid, too! With a bloody thwack sound effect, no less. You know, I don't know why, but I got a good feeling that this comic is going to be a fair and balanced portrayal of two nations at war. The two Amazons enter the Lincoln Memorial, and one asks the child murderer who Lincoln is. A man. Just another man. This city is full of them. Well, somebody's full of something, all right. We cut to the White House, where the president, who's obviously supposed to be a George Bush analog, don't ask me who it is, the DC Universe changes its president every 5 minutes, asks if they're in the midst of a terrorist attack. The Secret Service informs him that it looks like the Amazons. So, naturally, the most heavily fortified and protected building in the world gets attacked by two women wielding bows and arrows. Well, that's just... insane. You're telling me. And how the heck did that wall just explode? Are the walls of the White House made out of dynamite and gunpowder? The two women are armed with pointy sticks and bows and arrows. And the establishing shot of the White House showed that the president was on the second floor. Do all Amazons have explosive teleportation? So, two Secret Service agents wielding, guns are easily shot through the head by... Wait, where did the bows and arrows go? Now these two are carrying swords and spears. Screw it, let's just move on and get this over with. The Amazons declare that they want not Bush's head on a stake, but before they can act on their threat, the president is saved by black lightning. I got here as quickly as I could. I was at the Hall of Justice, just across the mall. Next to the cost cutters and the Kinkos. Frankly, this is more your line of work. You've dealt with this sort of thing before. I mean, I'm just the President of the United States in a world involving aliens, gods, and monsters, plus international crises. I have no experience with this! We cut to the Smithsonian Institution, Washington, D.C. Oh, really? I thought they meant the Smithsonian in Hoboken! For some reason, Queen Hippolyta has apparently decided to sit in a chair here and set up some bonfires. And yeah, Hippolyta's alive again through some ritual that occurred in the Wonder Woman issues leading up to Amazon's attack. Somehow this also restores the monarchy, even though it was Hippolyta herself who abolished it. Yeah, comic books, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, it's the fate of her daughter that's led Hippolyta to declare war on America.
Nobody arrests my daughter for drunk driving and gets away with it!
However, the architect of Hippolyta's rebirth is also here, a longtime Wonder Woman enemy. Circe, sorceress. Circe the sorceress sells circular seashells by the seashore for 60 cents. She exposits that Wonder Woman was trapped by the US government and they want her to reveal the secrets of Amazon technology, none of which we actually see in the comic. And so Cersei is our Grima Wormtongue to Hippolyta's King Theoden, more or less. More Amazons report to Hippolyta that Wonder Woman isn't in the cell she was supposed to be in, and the US military is on its way. The military? Damn, where's Neutro when you need him?
The president's fate, the military's impending arrival, even the freedom of my daughter. None of it matters at this moment. What matters is that for the first time, the world of men is at our mercy, and we must make the most of it. Yes, the entire reason we started this whole war thing no longer matters, so allow me to make up a new reason that makes no logical sense. Just as their enslavement of my daughter mocks our hard-fought freedom, so this city and its architecture mock the buildings of our beloved Themyscira. Let us tear this city to pieces!
Seriously, are any of the Amazons really taking this woman seriously when she talks like that? When's the last time you followed anybody who stood outside a building and yelled at it? Oh my god! This rectangular building is flipping me the bird just by existing! And so Hippolyta leads the hordes of Amazons through the streets, Cersei watching and of course smiling evilly. Okay, what the hell? She's clearly evil! She whispers in Hippolyta's ear like she's one of those devils on someone's shoulder. She has been your enemy for years! Why don't you just draw a twirly mustache on her and get it over with? A remaining soldier mentions Cersei's own daughter and she fries the unnamed Amazon for even mentioning her. By the way, this is supposed to be foreshadowing, but it ends up being completely inconsequential anyway.
This is the seat of their government.
This is where they make their laws. Men's laws.
Women don't have laws!
Hippolynuts has the Lincoln Memorial destroyed and a group of jets circles the Amazons, waiting for the authorization to fire. Intel wants to be sure there aren't any survivors down there. Human survivors, I mean. Oh, what biting commentary on our military. Take that, Dr. Strangelove! Good God, Colonel, isn't this all, a little out of our league?
I mean, we've got jets and tanks and missiles and guns, and they've got swords and spears!
We cut to the Department of Metahuman Affairs, where, strangely, its director, Sarge Steele, is talking to Batman. When did Batman become the Justice League's go-to guy for taking calls? Is he the receptionist? Corporate accounts payable, Batman speaking. Just a moment. Corporate accounts payable, Batman speaking. Just a moment. Sarge Steele wants to know when superheroes are going to start showing up to actually fight the Amazons, and Batman just tells him they're on their way and hangs up. Sarge Steele walks back to his office and opens up a hidden compartment, revealing that everything is going as planned. To another Sarge Steele who's bound and gagged!